Hi. Hi, guys. How are you all doing? Getting the Saturday vibes pumping. Right. So today, we are here to talk tweakments. Yes, we are. And this comes at a time where the facial aesthetics industry is worth a whopping £3.6 bajillion, which is insane. And we are joined by some amazing guests today, in case you didn't already know. So first up, we have an expert in the house. Yes, we do. She's a surgeon and cosmetic doctor and a real-life girl boss. Let's get real. It's Dr. Sherina. Let's hear it. That's you. And next up, we have an all-round entertainer. I mean, what don't you do, babe?
Ladies.
It's Rylan.
Hi, everyone.
Yay.
And then we have the one-woman lolfest, who serves it as it is. That tea is always piping hot with you, isn't it? It's Katherine Ryan.
Woo. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, we are here in association with Juvederm, and we were talking about this backstage.
Yes, we were.
Talk me through what Juvederm is and what filler is, because I think it's quite important that everyone is educated on this issue, what it actually is in it.
Okay, so what really is Juvederm? What actually is a facial filler? So Juvederm is a brand of facial filler. So there are different brands of facial filler available. Now, when we think about what a facial filler is, let's go right back to the analogy of a baby. When you think of a baby's face, big, plump, full, juicy, voluminous, guess what? You just want to reach out and touch it, right? You want to stroke it, and you just know it's going to feel good. So when we think what's in there, we've got fat, and then we've got skin, and that skin is just full of hyaluronic acid. That's what Juvederm is. What happens with that hyaluronic acid as we age? It gets a little bit less every single year. 1% less every year, so that's 10% each decade. So guess what? Once we hit 30, 40, you've got a little bit less of that every single decade. So that's what Juvederm is. It's a hyaluronic acid. That is a natural sugar that's normally found in your skin, and we have it everywhere. In the skin, cartilage in your joints, and the fluid in your eyes. So it's the most water-loving molecule known to women and men.
Because I think a lot of people get quite scared about it. I think people have some ridiculous misconceptions about it, that there's all this like nasty stuff in it.
Yes.
You're going to put it on your skin and you're going to like corrode in like 10 years and your face is going to explode. Like, what is how far have we come with facial filler?
We have come so far with facial filler. So let's go back about 10 years when, Juvederm brought out that range of facial filler. It's evolved so much over time. So perhaps it used to be a little bit more dense in viscosity and what it could achieve, and now it's so much more versatile. We can actually use it not just in the skin to restore hydration, we can put it deep in the layers underneath the skin to restore volume, whether it's in the cheek, the temple, the chin. So we can give a lot of correction to that as well. So we talk about misconceptions. Is it going to be bad? Sure, if you use it in the wrong time, the wrong place, select the wrong products potentially. And when I say the wrong products, we don't use things that are permanent anymore. We've moved away from all of that. So these are temporary procedures. They're correctable, they're reversible, they will just naturally go away with time. And that's what you want to select, because as we age, we're not going to be around forever. We're going to go away slowly over time. So you want something that's going to go away with you. So the result is to look like you're going under the radar versus looking totally overdone.
Now, guys, you guys have been on a cosmetic journey.
What?
Shall we say?
Not
spoiler.
Journey.
Yeah.
Like a short day trip.
Now, how far have you come, and how unashamedly honest are you guys about what kind of cosmetic enhancements you've had?
Well, me and Catherine were just talking about this, and we've not worked together, and we were just saying, to come here today and talk about Juvederm and medical fillers, why are people so cagey when it comes down to talking about what they've had done? And especially, I think, in the celebrity world as well.
Yeah.
You know, we see these magazines, and don't get me wrong, there is a lot of media that does the circle of shame and things like that and tries to judge people for having these procedures. But I'm going to lay it on the line now. I was a little fat, ugly ginger kid, right? And I loved my ginger hair, I loved my fat, but I started growing up and thought, I don't want to look this way, I want to look a different way. And I think if you're genuinely unhappy with something and you're in a position to change it, why not? And if you want to do it, then do it. But I don't think people should be judged, targeted, and called out for wanting to change something that they are not happy with.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's so flat.
I, unfortunately, wasn't one of those people that was happy with what I got given, or the hand that I was dealt. And yeah, there is that fine line of going too far sometimes. But again, who am I, or who are you, to tell me or someone else if you're going too far? At the end of the day, people should be able to do what they want to do. And I think we live in 2019 now, where companies like Juvederm offer products that are so well advanced to what we had, as you said, 10 years ago. You know, products like Volift and the new Volux that's coming out as well. I saw a demonstration the other night of Volux, and I have never seen such a wonder jab in my life of what it can do to a jawline. It's literally unbelievable. But I've always been very, very honest about having procedures, and I'm actually quite proud that, you know, myself, Katherine, we are honest about that. And I think the more people, especially in the public eye and in, you know, everyday life, are more honest about these procedures, with all due respect to this gathering that we've got going on here today, this might not need to happen in about 5-10 years'
very
time.
true.
And that's, I think, where we need to get in the world that we live in. Just be honest about it, because as long as you're going to someone who's regulated, someone who is a medical professional and knows how to use this product, as you just said, everything's reversible. If you're not happy with it, get it dissolved. It's done. It's gone. But if you're happy to do it, just do it and stop fucking lying about it.
Because there's so much empowerment that can come from honesty, right?
Yes.
Like, if more people talk about things, if we more embrace how everyone is, like, if you don't want to have filler, cool. Crack on.
Great. Good luck
if you
to
do want to have it, have it.
Yeah.
Like, we all need to respect people's beauty decisions more, and I think that's also helping because of social media. But then also we live in this age where we live in an age of filter. So we also have people who, you can meet them in real life and they're real life catfishes, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? You're not like this in real life.
You should see me in the morning. It's terrible.
But, like, how badly do you think social media has affected cosmetic surgery, cosmetic enhancements, and do you think it's a negative or do you think it's a positive thing in society today?
Well, going back to what I've had done, I think there is this economy of shame, and like women especially for a long time, and now men as well, we're meant to look a certain way and look youthful and perfect, but not do anything to influence that. Just roll out of bed, no makeup, like, hey girl. And I just think, I haven't actually done that much. I've had filler. I had breast implants when I was like 20 years old. My breasts are too old for an Alabama congressman. It's nothing new. But I didn't do it from a place of low self-esteem, or, I mean, I don't even look that dramatically different. I have always really had self-esteem that was maybe too high, but I just did it because I thought it was fun. For a time in my Britney Spears era, I had hair-colored skin-colored hair. Then I would be like super tan, and then I would say, oh, I want my lips a bit bigger, and I'd go have lip filler. I think it doesn't always have to be about self-esteem and transforming yourself. It just can be a little light entertainment if you do it in a safe way. It's just kind of fun. It's the same as experimenting with contouring or makeup, anything else. But I do now, in my job, encounter some of these young women especially who value the way they look on Instagram more than the way they look in real life. And it does need to be said that if you see some of these influencers on Instagram in the right angle and the right lighting and just keeping their face still one certain way, all of that excessive filler looks stunning. And then you see them in real life and you can tell their anatomy has not been respected. So I do think that level of influence. I mean, beauty is cultural. Beauty has always been cultural. I remember Jessica Simpson had a TV show where she'd travel the world learning about beauty. And this remote place in Africa used to put brides in a fattening hunt to get them fat for the wedding. They'd be like, until you look fat like the red cow. And that was their standard of beauty. And that was interesting. And then Giselle visited the supermodel Giselle visited another remote part of the world where they said, oh, that's the ugliest woman we've ever seen. She would never get a husband here. She's too thin. So right now, I think we're living in this culture, this boom of cosmetic enhancement. And it's just important to stay grounded and to stay safe and make sure that you're not just going to anyone on the high street, a hairdresser with a needle.
Yeah.
You know, as my friend Jimmy says, that's like letting the steward fly the plane. You need to go to a doctor, to someone who's using hyaluronic acid or something temporary, someone who's going to do it in a responsible way.
Yeah. And speaking, yes.
Oh, thanks, girls.
Preach it, preach it.
Yes.
Because obviously, doctor in the house here, like, I think people also have this other misconception that people can come in and be like, here's a picture of Kendall Jenner. I want to look like Kendall. Make me look like Kendall. Like, how much has that moved on? Or now people coming in, they're saying, hey, can you make me look like my favorite filter on Instagram? Is that happening? Or what do people do when they come to you? What kind of things are they saying?
These are all very, very valid points. And I remember about maybe 8 to 10 years ago, maybe not Kendall Jenner, people used to come in saying, please make me look like Kate Moss. And it would be a copy of Grazia, anything. And things have changed because you're right, social media has now come into place. So no more magazines. People may come in with their mobile phones. But what we're actually seeing is a trend. We're certainly seeing a shift away from make me look like this to how can you create specific anatomical points about me. So people are actually dissecting things a little bit more as opposed to a full face. They'll say, hey, maybe how about lips like this? And maybe how about cheekbones like that? Or hey, can you make my eyes like that? And you're probably right. It's because of this filter system that's going on here. So that has made us actually have a look at how we need to approach things because we have to be really specific with the anatomy then. So it all comes down to one thing and one thing only, and that's getting a great consultation and getting time in your consultation because we can't address just the lips or the eyes or the cheeks or the chin in a 10 to 15-minute consultation. It needs time. And you're absolutely right. You mentioned things like, social stigma. Are there going to be negativity? Are there going to be issues of confidence and self-esteem? So we need to dig really deep into the medical history. How long has the patient been feeling that way for? Has there been triggers in their lives? And in most of my patients, there is a trigger. In some shape or form, they might have lost a child at the age of 35 or 40, suffering a bereavement, people are getting divorced. There's usually a trigger, and we do need to address body dysmorphia, unrealistic expectations as well. So we have to go back to the consultation, and that's really, really key. So when we identify these triggers, and also, Rylan, you mentioned a really good point. You had a start point, but you wanted an end point. It was a desire of yours, and you're now, where you are, and you feel that way, and strongly about that. A lot of our patients feel that way too.
Yeah.
So if we can marry together what their concerns are, and then use our expertise to actually say, you know what, this is actually what you need based on your facial proportions, the balance to get a harmonious result, then that's really important. That's where we come in. So it's all about the consultation.
Yeah, for sure. And like you were just saying beforehand, Katherine, that you had your first boob job at 20.
But I mean, ill-advised.
Ill-advised.
But I think they look lovely.
Thank you.
They are great.
And he doesn't do ladies.
But have you ever had a procedure that you've lived to regret?
Yes. I had filler in my lips as well when I was 20. See, I would say definitely weight. Breast implants when I was 20, it was the lower back tattoo of my generation. I don't have a lower back tattoo, but we all know there's a generation that had the belly ring, and then this generation all has the big, overdone, fake lips. My generation was, let's all get breast implants when we're 20. How are we that rich? Waitressing in Canada, they tip. But I did sort of regret that. I kind of wish... You're risking your life anytime you have a general anesthetic. That was not ideal, but I've done it now. And then around the same time, I got lip filler just for cash only in a Canadian amateur's basement. Why do you go into someone's basement and give them cash? Why couldn't they just do it on the ground floor? Basement. And what she put in my lips has been confirmed to be silicone now. I've had to go and get... Yeah. Oh, thank you for the sharp intake of breath. And my lips have always been a bit wonky since then. So I'll go now to professionals who put a little bit of filler just around them to minimize the asymmetry that is there forever. And not only are my lips a little bit wonky now, I tried to go to a consultation to have it cut out. They can cut it out, but that's risky because the silicone attaches itself to all your tissue and you could be paralyzed in the face then. So they just said, well, we'll try to minimize the asymmetry, but it could get hard, it could get worse. And that's one of the reasons that I love to talk about cosmetic enhancement now, because I think it's very dangerous to do anything like that in secret or to do anything like that without education and information. And I don't want girls of this generation, who I know are all out getting filler, I don't want anyone getting silicone in their face. But, still cute though.
But because when that happened, did you feel like you had a support network you could go to and be like, I've done this? Or did you do it?
No, when that
slightly
happened, I thought I looked great. I thought I looked stunning for
Yeah.
about 10 years till it started to get a little crooked.
And then you were like, uh-oh.
Back then I was killing it. My hair was white. My skin was orange. I was killing it.
Slaying with that silicone. And then have you ever had anything you've lived to regret right then?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to filler-wise, I did have a really similar experience to you, and it was quite public as well. It was when I was on X Factor. I went to I would say surgeon, but wasn't even a doctor. And I was 23, I'd just turned 24, and I'd had filler in the past that was all fine from someone who now does my filler that I trust and is obviously regulated. But I had a quick fix of lip filler. And I think a lot of it, well, everything really should always come down to the person administering. But when you have a client like me who can be quite fussy, 3 mil of filler in my top lip wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
And I said, put another one in. And for, like you said, about a week, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, never underestimate the pricing. and it was only when I left X Factor and the following day, I think I was on This Morning or something like that, I laughed with Phil and Holly and my lip burst open.
No.
It did, my lip burst open. And I'd overfilled.
On This Morning?
On This Morning. I'd overfilled my lip. And I say I overfilled because it was me putting pressure on the person that was administering, saying, please put more in, please put more in. Yeah. And I literally saw all I can describe as my lip on the floor. And it was just there. And for about, I'd say 6 weeks, I just had this open wound that would just continue to seep and weep. And that was the wake-up call for me to not only know what I want and not go too far with it, but also to make sure I'm going to someone who will say no and someone who will do this. And Katherine touched on the fact, there's a lot of girls now, especially in the sort of social media world, the celebrity world, that do have what I think most of us would sit here and say, too much filler in their lips. But again, going back to my original point, who are we to say that's too much? Yeah. If this person is happy having their lips this big or their filler contoured so much that it's actually hard and very straight on their cheekbones, and that works for them, then that's great. Yeah. But I think the point that I wanted to get across today was, yes, I'm a man, I'm a gay man, you're every bit stereotype. I wear makeup, I dye my hair, I like RuPaul's Drag Race on a Saturday morning, I am your ultra stereotype, but it is so frightening the amount of people that I know that aren't a stereotype, that are straight guys, married for years, that are having a little bit of filler here, a little bit of filler there, but are frightened to talk about it because they think it's emasculating them, or women of a certain age, especially in the media, are frightened to admit that they're having fillers because they feel that it will ruin their natural English rose beauty image that they've got with the press. If people just start being more honest about it, I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with it. If you want to get it done, get it done. Just go somewhere. And as you said, it's so important to have that consultation and know where that end is. And the other night I was at a conference, talking about Juvederm's new products. And Dr. Maurizio, who's fantastic at filler administration, he turned around and said something that really stuck in my head. And it's about expectation versus reality. So the client will always have the expectation and the doctor should always have the reality. And it's about finding that missing jigsaw piece in the middle that bridges the gap. And that is where the consultation is key, because you can't just walk into a surgery and walk out, I think you're beautiful, by the way, and walk out looking like Katherine in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to happen.
It's not possible.
So it's all about taking time and finding the right thing. I've made my mistakes, and I'm happy to talk about the mistakes, but I didn't have anyone to look at to sit there and go, no, don't do that because I made that mistake and my lip was on the floor. Do you know what I mean? It sounds awful, but it was true.
Yeah.
Now, I hope I can be the person whose lip was on the floor to tell you guys, take it easy, listen to your doctor, go somewhere regulated, and do you. If it makes you happy, go for it. You buy a new lipstick, have a new lip.
Yeah. But I think you also touched on a really important point there, because there is a real level of sexism in society, especially when we come to talking about beauty. So we have people being like, oh, they have like a stereotypical image of what a girl's like who has plastic surgery or cosmetic enhancement or whatever it is. And then there's also another estimation when boys tend to want it or have it and then have to do it in secrecy and be like, oh my God, I haven't had filler. What are you on about? Or Botox? No, me never. What do you think about the level of sexism and beauty today, especially in relation to cosmetic enhancements?
Everyone looked at me. If I'm being honest, I do think there is a really fine line between men and women. I think we're seeing a growing trend now where certain companies will now do male cosmetic ranges and they will bill it as male cosmetic ranges. I used to be a makeup artist before I did any of this. So I worked in Selfridges, I worked in Harrods, I worked in Boots as well. I was an account manager at Benefit. And there was a company, I won't mention their name, but there was a company that did a serum for women that was really, really popular. And they then decided to bring the men's one out. The men's one was 25 mil less product than the women's one, exactly the same formula, and £10 more.
Wage gap, feel it.
It's true so.
Sorry.
We are making up for that.
You're getting paid? What we get paid for this? But it literally was. That's how things are marketed now. And I did find it really, really strange that because it's a man would feel more comfortable because something is in a black jar rather than a clear jar with silver writing on or a pink jar.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think men need to understand and catch up. And maybe I'm not the best advocate for it because I do wear makeup. I don't make no secret about that. And, you know, I'm a gay man. And as much as we are in 2019, that can still put straight hetero men off the fact of, well, I'm not listening to him. But I think men need to understand, catch up with the curve. You will die old and saggy and your wife will look beautiful.
They don't mind that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But if you're genuinely unhappy, like we sit here and, you know, we can take the mick a bit and have a laugh with it. But if someone's genuinely unhappy with something, go and change it if you can. If it's going to make you feel better, then do it. But it sounds like we're taking this really, really seriously, but it is. Like, don't suffer in silence. Like, talk to people about it. Like, I don't know, how many people in this room have had filler? Put your hand up if you've had filler. Okay, so not that many of you. Now, try and be really, really honest. Put your hand up if you have had filler, but just didn't put your hand up. Do you know what I mean? Like, there will be people in this
hands
room.
Going up there.
There will be people in this room that have had filler and they don't want to admit it, and that's fine. That's your choice. But the more people that do, the less we need to worry about doing this because it will become more on a regulated basis where it is like going. I mean, there's a big high street chain that's offering filler in stores now, and it got a really, really bad. Exactly like your face. You're like, what? But it got a really,
I can still move it.
Yeah, it's still going. But it got a really, really bad rap in the press.
Emotions.
It was crazy. You know, the media just went to town and like, this is disgusting. And you'd have people coming out going, this is terrible. But at the end of the day, the people that are going to be administering these products are going to be regulated, are going to be checked. A brand as big as that brand is will not let someone walk in that store or work in their environment that isn't regulated, that hasn't been trained, is not trained in Juvederm, for argument's sake, do that.
Yeah.
So something like that the media and a lot of the public are going, this is disgraceful, it's promoting bad body image. It's actually probably safer than going to your local salon and having it done where you would think in your head, oh, this is the place to get it done, is in a salon, not on the high street. But actually, when you think about it, it's actually a million times more regulated than Backstreet Barbara's, like, have a little blow dry and a...
Yeah.
Do you know what
a bit
I mean?
Botox at the end.
Yeah, and I think that is actually a massive step forward.
Barbara.
You know Barbara. She's a lovely lady.
Backstreet Barbara.
Yeah,
I didn't think that's how she got the nickname.
Yeah,
We're taking her out of business.
She earns her dollar. She does.
Because I think a lot of people would say, I think you touched on a really important point there as well. Like, whenever you do or talk about anything that's about cosmetic enhancement, it's so polarizing. People are going to turn around and be like, no, you should not be talking about this on stage when we have impressionable girls here. What would you kind of say to those people who would criticize us for coming out and talking about this kind of thing?
They'll say it about anything. So I do stand-up comedy. Poorly, some might say. Some like
amazingly. Sorry. Been there.
And from the beginning, I purposely would go on stage in a very glamorous way. Full drag, hair and makeup. I was wearing wigs on stage for a long time because I think it's theater. I would always be very mindful of, I have my lovely stylist, Jen is here. I always loved fashion. I always loved beauty. I always loved jewelry. I always loved shoes. That's just part of my personality, and it doesn't make me any less feminist. If anything, it might trick certain people into thinking that, I look a certain way, then I'm like, hi, and then, yes.
Hot them.
Yeah, I will get you. But it's an extension of that. People would say, well, you can't look glamorous and be a feminist, or you can't do filler and be a feminist. You can't be pro-beauty, anything at all, because it is not empowering, it's bad body. And I think that's just such a fallacy. Both things can be true. You can have interest in the art and medicine of cosmetic enhancements, and you can have interest in feminist issues and be a global feminist and do all these different things. I think a lot of magazines are wisely positioning themselves with their articles and their content. That way you can love the things that you love, be unapologetically interested in glamour, but also be a feminist. And it's not bad body image. I'm not telling anyone, you can be empowered and just do it. It's just a bit of fun for me. I think it's the same as really cool earrings or a hairstyle or a different eyeliner. For me, it's just all, the world is a stage. I think it's fun.
I think that deserves a clap.
That does.
Yeah. Because that's a really important point. Like, empowerment comes from self-esteem, right?
Yeah.
And if you're fueling your self-esteem, who's anyone to say that you're not an empowered person? Be you a woman or a man, right?
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. And also, like, I think the really important point to remember here is whatever you do, if you're thinking about having cosmetic enhancement of any degree, whatever that might be, it's to discuss it. Go see the right people. Talk to the people around you. So what advice would you give to someone who maybe is in here right now and is thinking about doing it? What one piece of advice would you want to give them?
Do your research. Look out there. You can find information absolutely everywhere. You can find lots of information right here today. That's why you're here. So we talked about beauty, and that's exactly what we all have in common today. We've all come to learn something about it, whether it's with your makeup, your foundation, your mascara, hair products, and we have a fantastic stand with the Juvederm Beauty Decoded event going on here just to demystify all of that, because you brought up a lot of really good points there, Josh. Is it going to make me look overinflated? Is it going to make me look like a balloon? And the answer is absolutely not. And we need to find out, how do we go about getting there? So do your research. Find out who you're going to see. Find out who your practitioner is. And during your consultation, or even pre the consultation, find out more about them. Are they General Medical Council registered, general dental, nursing, whoever it is you're seeing, they are all regulated, and find out where you can find that from. Find out the products that you're using as well, or that they're using. Find out what's going to be used in your skin, in your face. You need to know. Choose your brands wisely. And then find out how they're going to do it as well. So you want to see their work. Ask to see their before and afters. And any good, great practitioner will be able to show you his or her work. And then choose your time wisely as well. So when I mean that, I say take the time to listen. Take the time to have your assessment, get the information, pricing, all of that. Find out the risks, the benefits, the side effects. I find that consultations could be done so quickly sometimes. Patients don't know that some things can cause side effects. Maybe not immediate, but in the long term. Maybe even bruising. Choosing it in a timely fashion that will suit your lifestyle. And then finally, don't get pressed into making a decision there and then. Anybody that says to you, sign up now and you'll get 50% off, I would say walk away.
Out
walk
that door.
Away. Out the door. We believe in the clinic, we believe in a cooling off period. Go away. Take some time to make that decision. Look at all the information out there. Research me. I'm open and transparent, just like everybody else. So take your time, go away, and then make the decision in your own time. You've got to be in control of this because it's your skin and your face, so you own that.
Amazing. What would you say, Rylan?
Yeah, I mean, I'd sit there and say, like, I don't want to, and I'm sure I'd speak for all of us when we sit here and say, we're not sat up on this stage sitting here going, everyone get fillers, it's amazing, you're all going to look beautiful and you're going to feel $1 million after it. That's not what we're saying, but the message that I think we're all trying to get across is, if you're happy with the way that you look, then that's fantastic and we're so happy for you and I'm over the moon for you. But if you're not happy with the way that you look and you feel that you do want to get something done, that's okay. It's not taboo. It shouldn't be taboo. If you want to cosmetically enhance yourself in any way, and by any way, we sit here and said, whether it's getting a new mascara, you know, it's not got to be having filler. But when it comes down to fillers, it can change the way you look. I have completely transformed my face by fillers. And if any of you just do like a small Google search of like a young Rylan, you will probably think there's been witchcraft involved.
We have a panel on that later.
There might have been. But I've completely changed my face, but I wanted to do that. And do I put success or anything like that down to me changing my face? No. But do I put a newfound confidence in putting my blazer on, putting my shirt on, putting a bit of foundation, a lot of foundation on, and a little bit of contour and walking out of the door in the morning? Yeah, I do put my confidence down to that. And I'm so over the moon that I took that step to make that choice, speak to someone who is a professional that guided me in the right direction, and whenever I went off course, brought me back onto course. And I'm sure you will all make mistakes along the line and think, oh, I wish I didn't get my eyebrow waxed that thin, or I should have went for HD, I should have went for this. But that's a learning curve. But just remember, I mean, I've always used Juvederm, and we're obviously talking about Juvederm today, but it's all I've ever used. And I know if anything was to go wrong, I'm in the right hands. And two, that my practitioner would know how to correct it and what to do. Nothing is forever. As you was just saying, and I think that's a really important point, nothing is forever. This will go away. And if you want it gone quicker, and it's something that you think, actually, a month down the line, I wish I never had this done there, I don't want it, get it dissolved. It can be done. It's not a really difficult process, but being in the right hands, you will always be looked after. And if you're not happy, change it.
For sure.
I think,
what would you say?
Like Rylan's saying, your aesthetic is just the costume that your soul uses on this earth to live this life, and that is what we're trying to protect, is your soul. So if you want to jazz up your costume, we don't want you to feel shameful or to be doing it because your partner told you to or because you don't feel enough without it. Like, this is just your costume, and if you are going to try something new, we want you to do it safely and protect yourself and protect your soul. I would also say, stay out of the sun. 99% of like the good grace on my face is because I haven't spent a moment in the sun my entire life. And thirdly, if you do too much, your kids are going to start asking questions when they come out not looking like you. Your old nose will come back to haunt you. So,
as long as mine don't get my new teeth.
a baby.
I think that's a really important point as well, because you've got to do it for the right reasons. Like, for instance, like, I do YouTube videos, and I have people write comments all the time. For anyone who hasn't seen this, Julia Caesar knows from all the 360 degrees experience in here, being like, you should get a nose job. Why haven't you got a nose job? Or fix your teeth, do this, do that. But I'm like, I'm fine with myself, babes.
Exactly.
So, like, don't ever do it because of someone else telling you you need it. Yeah. You need to make sure you make that decision for yourself, right?
It's very interesting because you've all mentioned points on cosmetic enhancement, etc. And I want to bring back to really 3 reasons why someone might come and see someone like me. And sure, that might be that enhancement, wanting to get the lips accentuated just a little bit more. But there is also something a bit more corrective in what we do as well. So let's take someone potentially a little bit older or younger, but might have been aging a little bit too quickly because of a trigger like stress, bereavement, trauma, anything. There is a transformation that we can actually do to correct these sort of deficiencies in volume, issues with structure of the bone, skeletal transformation. So a lot of what we do is actually very transformative and corrective as well. We can be so anatomical, we can be so correct in the placement of these materials, and the pharmacology and how they've been created has come such a long way. So don't forget, it may not necessarily be for an enhancement why someone might come and see me. It could be for something truly life-changing as well. And may that be something they may want to keep to themselves or share with the world. I like our patients to share it with everybody, and they get to a point where you actually just see their faces come alive again, and they feel like they're back in the room. Something may have happened in their lives, and they're just back in the room, and they love that. And for us, that's extremely rewarding.
Completely.
That's amazing. Let's have a round of applause for these guys. Claps, 3-6 claps. Now the exciting bit is we get to turn this on to you guys. Woo! So, who has any burning, deep desire questions they want answered? Raise your hands and be heard. Who's got any questions? Ooh, anyone?
Oh, and sleep on your back. J-Lo sleeps on her back.
Yeah. Any questions?
Just ask a question. Why'd you come all this way? Do you have questions about anything not related to this talk?
Brexit.
We can turn this into question time. Do not worry about that.
Great.
Hi. You've placed a lot of emphasis on finding the right person to do the work, but there's so much information out there. So what are the trusted sources that we can go to? There's so many reviews. Who do we know how to trust? Who do we trust?
That's a brilliant question. Thank you so much. You are absolutely right. And, there is so much going on right here, right now. We're in 2019. You've got so many more practitioners, so many more products, so many more clinics, so many more locations. So go back to the people that you know. Go back to the people that you trust. I always say go back to your friendly GP. You never know whom they might know. Things have evolved so much. People talk about this more than you actually think. And I think if you actually ask your GP, you don't know what she or he may say. Ask your family or friends. They may not be, there to share it so openly, but I think if you do a one-to-one, you don't know what might happen. We get patients, girls especially, they may start off with coming in together for their consultations, 3 or 4 of them together, but guess what? After a while, they start coming alone because they may not want their friends to see or be part of their evolution. So talk to your friends. You never know what you might see. And then finally, go into the world of Google. Put something in your postcode and go onto something like the Juvederm Connect. Really, you can identify which clinics will have the Juvederm brand in your town, in your home place, and you can actually connect with that clinic, see what kind of advancements they have in how they deliver these treatments for you, and connect with them. And go and seek a good consultation. Don't just have one, maybe even have 2 consultations. You've got to have the right chemistry with who you're about to embark on this aesthetic journey with you, because sure, it could be something that you want for the present, but think of where you're going to go long term.
And also,
don't just pick someone off Instagram because they can steal pics.
Yeah, they can.
And there is an organization called Save Face in the UK, and they correct a lot of dodgy filler, and they have a list of practitioners who are accredited as well.
Yeah, they're really good.
Name and shame. And also on the second floor here with a Juvederm section. So you go ask all the questions you want to ask to them guys, research. There's all these incredible tools where you can see what you're going to look like.
Absolutely. We have 3 talks coming up for the rest of the day on the Juvederm stand. So we're going to be demystifying the products, where they're going to be placed. Come to the Juvederm bar. You can actually see and feel what these materials feel like. They don't feel stiff. They're not colored. They're clear, they're transparent, they're biodegradable, and they're in different consistencies. So have a play, see what there is out there. So, come and join us.
Can I just ask you, do you know anyone that's had filler? Like, you've got friends that have had filler. Genuinely, exactly what you were just saying, the best way is word of mouth as well, because you're not going to buy a product from a store that you think, that might be a bit dodgy, unless Barbara, again, will use as an example.
Barbara.
Pesky Barbara.
Unless Barbara turns around to you and goes, no, actually, I've been in that store, I bought that product was great. So it is, word of mouth is probably, I'd say, the most strongest
And
form.
word of mouth, if it's like a real dodgy looking mouth, stay away.
If the mouth's like this,
there's so many people. Everyone says they're the best, don't they? They're like, oh no, you're the best guy. And it's like, you don't. Just say, my guy's mediocre.
Yeah.
Go to him.
Go to him. But that is what I would say to you as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Let's go mental. Stamp those feet and clap for these guys.
Well done, guys. Well done.
Woo!
Well done to you.
Thank you, guys.